Last week on Locked On A's, we talked about Mason Miller. Today, we're talking to Mason Miller. Let's get into it. How's it going, A's fans? And welcome to episode 487 of the Locked On A's podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I'm your host, noted baseball fan Jason Burke, and to this side, I got it right. We are talking to Mason Miller, the A's number 20 prospect, according to MLB Pipeline. And Mason, thank you for joining the show. First off, you're rising through the ranks very quickly as you get more exposure to just people, because you got a blazing fastball, and apparently that does wonders, and also some other good pitches. So welcome to the program, man.
Appreciate it, man. It's my pleasure.
No worries. So let's start off. You were born in Pittsburgh, grew up in Pittsburgh. Is that how I understand it?
Yeah. Yeah, I was born in Pittsburgh. We moved a little further south, but still in the Pittsburgh area for my whole childhood. So Pittsburgh's home.
Did you grow up a Pirates fan or a Phillies fan? How did that go?
Pirates fan for sure. There were some brutal years in there, but that was my team.
Well, but as you were like coming of age, like when I was roughly at the age you would have been when they were making the playoffs, that was like my golden years of watching baseball. I think was just they had 93 wins, 97 wins. They had a bunch of great seasons in that stretch right there in like the early teens for you, and so that must have been kind of nice.
Yeah, it was exciting. It was a glimmer of hope for sure.
So the Phillies were in the World Series just now. Were you allowed to root for them, or is that a no-go in Pennsylvania?
It's definitely not a no-go. I mean, I think it was more of, just an underdog. You want to root for a good series.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people thought the Astros were going to run away with it. So it was nice to see the Phillies put up a good fight, win two big swing games, but unfortunately it didn't go their way. So, I mean, I enjoy watching it regardless of the outcome, but I'd say I lean toward the Phillies being from PA for sure.
I mean, they have a fun and exciting team. Every game that I watch them, I was like, this team is a good time. I enjoy watching these guys. And I didn't go into the postseason like rooting for them by any means, but I enjoyed watching them. So that was fun. I mean, Bryce Harper's a good time by himself.
Yeah.
So who were some of your pitching like influences growing up? Were you looking at just the Pirates? Were you able to watch other guys as you were, coming of age, or like who were you looking to like basically mold yourself after?
Well, when I was young, it really wasn't about pitching. I liked hitting and played shortstop growing up. So Jack Wilson was the Pirates shortstop when I was really young, and then kind of transitioned more towards Andrew McCutchen being my favorite Pirate. Garrett Cole was there though, so I enjoyed watching him throw as I got a little older before he left. A little bit different pitcher than he is now when he was with the Pirates, but he was still our ace, I'd say, at that point.
One thing that's always interesting to me is how you like pitchers become pitchers. When did you start pitching, and what was your first time on the mound like? Because you were playing shortstop already.
Yeah.
What's that like? Like, were they just, hey, you got a good arm, you want to step on the mound? What happened there?
I think that's the basic requirement when you're young. It's you got a live arm. It's like, all right, we'll try you out on the mound. And I was accurate enough that I was pretty dominant for my youth years. And then high school is when I became pretty much like pitcher probably was my priority more than hitter. So that was when the shift happened. But up till then, it was just I had a talented arm, so it stuck me out there a lot.
Were you throwing just heaters, or were you going like, were you trying to go off speed? What else were you throwing there?
I threw curveballs for sure,
Nice.
probably a little earlier than I should have, but it all worked out. But fastball's always been the best pitch, probably.
But you don't throw a curveball now.
No, I think that was more of just the slower velocity back then.
Gotcha.
It's hard to throw a good tight slider when you're throwing 75 with your breaking ball. You're bound to have a little more depth to it. So
that makes sense.
I mean, my arm hasn't changed a whole lot, so it's similar, different grip, but slider's just throwing a little harder, so the ball stays on the line a little better.
I know that this is very nerdy, but have the A's gotten into you about like pitch tunneling and all that stuff, or is that still something that's way off that other teams are doing and the A's aren't necessarily?
No, I think that's a pretty commonly
Okay.
accepted pitching plan. I mean, if you can command your pitches,
Mhm.
then it's effective. If you don't, then it's kind of just working off your misses.
Okay.
So I think it's just a good thing to have in the back of your mind as a pitcher, whether you use it or not. I mean, you can become predictable if that's how you're gonna. Every time you miss up with a fastball, you're gonna throw a breaking ball off of it. I feel like a hitter can get onto that, but
Yeah.
you can definitely use your misses to set up the next pitch, even if you didn't quite execute them the way you wanted.
So just from what I've gleaned so far in watching, like you had a talk with a MLB Pipeline last week after your amazing start. 3 innings, no hits, no walks, no nothing, 5 strikeouts. Very nice outing, by the way.
Appreciate
Um,
that.
it just sounded like you approach pitching as a starter, which you are a starter, and that might surprise people that only see that you throw 100. That you are, in fact, a starting pitcher. Um, what goes into the preparation for you just mentally in trying to go out and attack guys? What is your process?
I think as a starter, I mean, it's a balance between thinking, I got to get in deep into this game,
Mhm.
give my team a chance to win. But also with these guys, you can't really take a batter off. You got to be locked in. Like, I got to get this out before I worry about the next out. And I think with like how you plan your outing and all that, it's a little easier to get caught up in, what's next. But that's been something that I've worked on this fall, especially as each batter is that's the guy I need to focus on right now and not worry about what's coming next or how I'm going to pitch the next guy. So
Are you primarily working on your slider and your changeup, or just the entire repertoire in Arizona right now?
yeah, I mean, my whole goal right now is just to get some innings and
Yeah.
get some experience. I mean, obviously, I'm working on developing all my pitches, of course, and I
Mhm.
mean, there's a little bit more focus on the changeup because that is my weakest pitch. But I'm really happy with how it's come along, and I've thrown it with a lot of confidence even before I got to the fall league. It's just hard when I have two plus pitches and I'm in such a short outing where it's like, all right, I'm going to throw the changeup here because I really don't want to get beat on my worst pitch.
Yeah. Congrats for being an Arizona Fall League Fall Star as well. You were there yesterday. You did not get to. You were unavailable to pitch. Are you pitching tomorrow? I guess I'm
Yeah,
assuming that's
yeah,
why.
I'm
Yeah.
getting my last outings tomorrow, and then I'll be done for the fall league. So we just thought, as opposed to getting 1 inning yesterday in that game, I'll just finish out on the routine that I've been doing, throw my 3 innings on Tuesday, and then call it a fall.
Nice. How are you feeling right now? Because you missed, was it 4 or 5 months to begin the season? You got some innings late. You started in Lansing. You went straight up to Las Vegas. Uh, yeah. How you feeling? One, and what was that like going from Lansing to Vegas with basically just rookie ball under your belt as a professional? What was that like?
Well, I feel great. I think we did everything we needed to through the rehab process and more to put me in a good position to get back on the field and to stay healthy. So I feel great. I mean, throughout this whole fall league, a lot of guys are kind of dragging because they've had a long year. But for me, I just kind of I had 5 outings before, and then I had these 6 outings. So I felt great this whole time, and I think I'm in a great spot headed into the off season and into next spring. And then going to Vegas, I mean, that was sweet. There's no other way to put it. It was, I think, a little awestruck, of course, with that ascension, but getting out there and pitching, I felt right at home, just throwing the way I know how, attacking guys. And it's cool to share the field with guys that have big league time or are really close. It's good for me to face competition like that, even with how much this year I spent on the DL.
With this injury, were you able to like do other things besides rehab? Like, were you able to go on a hike or go play video games or like what did you do other than just rehabbing in that time until you got to make your season debut?
Yeah, I did some hiking at the beginning of the rehab process. I think I took 2 or 3. I'm not a huge hiker, so 2 or 3 is like saw a couple cool spots in Arizona, and I was like, "That's good for a while." Plus, then it got hot. There's no way I'm getting caught out in the desert and
Right?
110
How's the
degrees.
weather right now?
The weather's gorgeous right now. Really, this
Yes.
whole fall week's been great. Kinda like spring training, but a little warmer in the mornings and the evenings, and no rain either, so that's been nice.
I went out for one fall league 2015, I want to say. And I was like, oh, this is great. I never need to go in between spring training and Arizona Fall League. I don't need to make any Arizona appearances then, but these 2 times of year are fantastic. And I thoroughly enjoyed myself.
Could not agree with you more.
What is like, how is it as a player at the Arizona Fall League compared to the regular season? I know that you haven't had like a full regular season yet, but are you still staying with families, or are you guys set up a little bit better because it's the fall league? How's that?
Yeah, all our spots have been great. I mean, we're in apartments or condos, kind of just with guys from your organization. So
Cool.
it's been nice. Sense of living's been great. I mean, it's not out of a hotel, so we've been like in one spot for 6 weeks, which is nice.
Yeah.
Kind of similar to spring training, except it's a little bit more laid back. I think guys are kind of they know what they're here to work on. They know what their goals are. Whereas in spring training, there's a little bit more pressure of like performance and that you got to make a team and things like that.
I mean, you might not know this yet because it is yet to be determined, but what kind of an innings limit are we looking at for 2023? I know that you had 92 innings in 2021 in college and then a little bit in rookie ball there, but like how many innings do you think you could go in 2023?
Yeah, I mean, I think those are conversations we're going to have
Mhm.
in these next couple weeks or couple months during the off season. I mean, the number one goal is just to stay healthy through
Mhm.
this off season, put myself in a good position for spring training. I haven't been told an inning limit. I would imagine there's going to be some caution exercised, but to what extent, I'm not sure. I feel great. I've never really had any injury history till this year. So I think that I'll be ready to go in whatever role they need me to be for next year. But we'll see what they have in store for me and go from there.
If the A's were like, hey, we want you to be a bullpen piece on opening day in Oakland, would you jump at that? Or would you be like, if it was up to you, do you want to continue being a starting pitcher and see how that goes? Which role are you going for there?
It's a no-brainer. You get an opportunity to pitch in the big leagues, you got to take it no matter what. So I'm prepared to do whatever I need to do to get there. I do look at myself as a starter. That's what I've been in the past, and that's how we've been developing me, and that's been our plan so far in the short time that I've been here. But of course, there's always time to pivot and change as needs arise. So I'm prepared to be adaptive.
No worries. What has been your walk-up song or your warm-up song so far in pro ball? And would it change if you were coming out of the bullpen in the big leagues?
I think it probably have to change. Maybe I don't know. I've just been using the same one, "The Stroke" by Billy Squire since
Good song.
college,
Yeah.
and yeah, I'm not a huge walk up song guy. If I had to change and pick something else, I'd probably have one of my buddies pick it for me or something like that. I
Well,
kind of just get tuned in. I don't really hear what's going on around me. So
I think for me, it would be I would want something to get me into the zone or kind of relax me and set me up if I was going to be a starter. But if I'm going to come in relief and I need to go get, bases loaded, nobody out, I want something a little bit harder. And so I think that I would go, it would definitely have to vary with that. But Billy, the stroke, that works in basically all realms, I think. You could,
yeah, I think as a starter, you're going out there for 5+ innings, hopefully, and you're gonna
yeah,
hear 5 different songs. So I think there's less like this is my song when you're a
yeah.
starter. So you hear the anthem and then you hear your song and then you got another couple innings to go compete. So I think when you're running out of the bullpen onto the field, you might fall in love a little bit more with whatever song's playing.
What are some of your goals for 2023?
I mean, the biggest one's just to stay on the field and stay healthy. I think even though I haven't spent a whole lot of time healthy and competing this year, I've obviously kind of carved out a name for myself, especially here in the fall league.
Mhm.
So I think it's just more of that, showing that I can be the same pitcher that I've shown a short glimpse of in this short period of time. Although I know that's the pitcher I am, it's about showing other people in our organization and outside of it, that I can do that for an extended period of time. So that's goal number one. And then, I mean, just continued success. I mean, I couldn't really ask for much more than what I've been doing right now. I've been filling the zone up as of I mean, besides two real outings, the last one in Vegas, I gave up 2 home runs, and then my first outing here in the fall league, I struggled a little bit with control. But besides that, I mean, I've been in the zone, which is my biggest thing. If I'm not putting guys on base with walks and hit batters, then they have a hard time beating me. So
I mean, your whip is under 1 overall, I believe, which is just astounding. And that makes me really enjoy watching you pitch. Anybody that has a whip under 1, especially as a starter, they're going to be great in my book. So you got that stamp of approval, I guess.
cool.
So this is going to be a weird one, but you were teammates with Kevin Smith in Las Vegas for a brief minute in September, and he had a great month. He hit all the home runs. He hit like 360 with an over 400 on base. He had like, I think it was like 11 home runs. He had an on fire month. It really saved the season that he had. As a pitcher, when you're not on the mound, are you on the bench like, hey, are you looking for like a way that you would go and attack that guy, or are you just enjoying the moment and just being like, hey, that's my teammate. Go Kevin Smith.
Yeah, I mean, I think when a guy's having that much success at the plate, you just got to kind of sit back and admire what he's doing, and defensively too. I mean, he was playing really well on both sides of the ball for that whole time that I was there, so that was really fun to watch. I mean, I think about how another pitcher or the pitcher on the mound may be pitching him, but I don't have a lot of like good pitcher comps, I guess, to me right now. So like when I first got to Lansing, I was doing all these scouting reports and looking at guys' tendencies. And while there is value in that, I think I fell in love a little bit too much with attacking guys' tendencies as opposed to just sticking to what I do really well until somebody beats me.
Yeah. Do you ever go up to somebody who's like a fellow pitcher who's struggling after a tough game and be like, try throwing 100? It works for me.
No, I don't. I kind of try to be an outlet for other guys,
Yes.
as I want them to be for me.
That would be an awful teammate, I would say.
Yeah, I don't think I'd make a whole lot of friends doing that.
Guys that you have played with both in Lansing and in Vegas in short periods of time, who has impressed you so far? I know that you're teammates with a couple of them right now in Arizona, but who's stood out to you just overall in those 2 spots?
Yeah, I mean, obviously Kevin Smith had a crazy good time when I was there. I mean, really, I was happy to watch just about anybody when I was in Vegas. Try to learn anything I could. I enjoyed watching Geloff and Law play this fall. They've both had little hot stretches and some cold stretches. And then obviously our other arms here, Colin Palouse, JT Ginn, and Ryan Cusick, have been overall really successful. So I think we're all pretty happy with the way the fall went. We've had some blips for me and Ryan, but I think overall headed to next year, we're all in a really good spot to, attack the year.
Yeah, all of the A's pitchers are just dominating right now, according to ERA and some other stats. But pretty solid outing from all of you guys. So it's been fun to keep an eye on from afar, at the very least. Which player in the big leagues currently would you want to go test your stuff against? Not like as a call out. I'm not having you try to call somebody out, but would you want to go face Aaron Judge and see how you do? Or is there somebody else that you want to see how you do against? Who in the big leagues?
I mean, after just watching the World Series, I think Kyle Schwarber, I was really impressed by his approach, not even just his home runs, but just the at-bats he was having, his pitch selection. I think he was looking like a really hard out throughout the World Series and most of the playoffs. So that's probably the guy that's freshest on my mind. I mean, I'd be happy to face any star and see how my stuff compares.
But why did he bunt? What was that about?
I don't know. Must have been a lot going through his head.
Okay, so my last question, and I ask you this as a business major myself. Why did you pick finance? That was such a hard class. Why did you major in finance?
I mean, I went into college as a management major, and finance, it is a challenging class, but for whatever reason, most of it clicked really well with me. one of my coaches at Waynesburg was actually the finance professor, so I had a really good
Ah,
still have a really good relationship with him.
nice.
He kind of encouraged me to go that route, and I mean, it worked out really well.
Yeah.
Regardless, I mean, that's some regardless of what job or life you live. I mean, that's going to be a beneficial,
Mhm.
degree to have.
Well, for
So
sure.
I'm definitely happy with my choice.
And you also got your MBA as well, correct?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
received that from Gardner Webb. They're in my fifth
Nice.
year.
I mean, you're just killing life right now. Congrats, man.
Yeah, I've
um,
had a lot of things fall into place for sure in the
yeah.
past couple of years.
What is the thing that you're going to be doing once fall league is over? Like, do you get to go out and play after tomorrow's outing, or do you? I mean, obviously, you still got to report a little bit, but what's the thing that you're looking forward to most once the season is over?
I think just a small like mental break from
Yeah,
everything. I mean, rehab was a mental grind,
yeah,
just staying up pretty much,
yeah.
just staying up on yourself, staying up on the process. So it's although I didn't have like a super, strenuous year physically with how much time I missed,
Hmm.
I'm still feeling the effects of a long year mentally. So I think just taking a couple weeks to, refresh, reset before I start attacking the off season and, then the excitement starts building for next year. So
Are you
very,
a video game
very
guy at
excited.
all?
Uh, I used to be more. I kind of
Yeah,
got away from it this year and in the years past, but I still like to pick it up a little bit. So
yeah. I'm like, there's some big. I think Call of Duty just dropped. There's a new God of War coming out, or it did
yeah,
come out. I don't know. There's some games for you to play if that is the realm that you're going for.
yeah, I'm gonna have to try some out for sure.
All right. Well, thank you so much for joining me today, and good luck next season. And have a fun, brief off season, but and good luck tomorrow as well.
Appreciate it. Thanks, Jason.
No worries, man.